the musket and pike system published by GMT is one that I've been wanting to try for a while, mainly because I'm interested in the topic 17th century warfare, which is exactly what this system simulates, a topic that interests me for my academic researches, also because I'm just fascinated by such an incredible event, such a complex event, as the 30-year war was. I was just looking for a game in the system that somehow seemed like a good entry point. And at the recent GMT fall sale, as I was looking through the possible offers, I saw a game in the system called Nothing Gained But Glory, and this game, as the website told me, features smaller battles than other games in the system do. That means it could be a good game to start with the system, to get introduced to the system. So I picked up the game at the fall sale, and I'm very happy I did, because I can really tell you that this is a game that I enjoyed, and I enjoy the system very much too. In any case, this game features 7 battles of the Scanian War. So we're in Scania, Northern Europe, in a war, not the most famous war of 17th century probably. 7 battles, so definitely a good range of options, because also the battles are pretty different from one another. In any case, let me tell a little bit about the system today, and then we can talk more about Nothing Gained But Glory and about what I like in the system. Units in this game are divided in wings, and each wing is under a specific order. You will use this player aid here to place markers that indicate the present order of each wing, and the orders that units are following affect, of course, the way in which units behave. There are 4 possible types of order. You have charge, that allows units to move adjacent to enemy units. That is the only order that allows that. However, units under charge orders must attempt to end their activation closer to enemy units. Make ready is an order that allows you to move units fast around the board. Units can move up to their full movement allowance, as long as they do not move adjacent to enemy units. There is a limited ability of units under order to perform a reform action. Reform action is what you want your units to perform when the formation of a unit was shattered or broken by a previous action, and that may be moving through certain types of terrain or engaging in combat. And if there is a group under Make Ready, then the wing commander of that group only may perform a reform action on a unit. Units under Receive Charge Order can only move up to 1 hex, no more than that. However, they can perform reform actions, and that group also has a limited ability to perform a rally action, meaning that the wing commander of that group can perform a rally action. And rally, of course, is what allows you to recover morale if the morale of a unit has been reduced by previous actions. Rally, units can move freely, well, up to their full movement allowance, but only as long as they do not move any closer to enemy units, and they can perform rally actions and reform actions. When a group activates, the first thing that that group can do is to try to change the current order, if you so wish, if that's what you think is going to be good for that group. In order to change the current order, you need to roll on this table. Several modifiers may have to be taken into account, and you need to roll a number on a d10 which falls in the range indicated and the intersection between the current order your group is under and the desired order. If I have a group under charge orders, I want the group to get in Make Ready orders, then I need to roll a number between 0 and 3 included. And as you can see, not all changes of orders are the same. It is much easier to go from certain orders to certain other orders. For example, it is much easier to go from charge to rally than from charge to receive charge, which makes perfect sense. In the same, along the same lines, it is much easier to go from rally to Make Ready than from rally to charge. Again, very thematic and very economically resolved here. Continuation and preemption. What are these things? Usually, players alternate activating their groups. First, you activate a group, then you activate a group. And this goes in order of priority depending on the orders. First, all charge orders are resolved, that is, all groups under charge orders, then make ready, then receive charge, then rally. After a group has completed its activation, you may try to activate that group again by rolling on the continuation table. Modifiers again may apply if the number is one of the numbers in the range indicated for your current order, then you will be able to activate that group again. And you may do that twice, up to 2 times. That means that if you're lucky, a group may activate up to 3 times in a turn. However, your opponent may try to prevent you from doing that. Not prevent you actually, but to preempt you, that is to go first. How does that happen? If you are trying to activate one of your groups, or if you're just going to activate one of your groups during its first activation, the opponent may try to go first to bypass that group with one of his groups that haven't acted yet and are not supposed to go now. In that case, the opponent rolls on the preemption column, and again, numbers in the range indicated there for the current order will tell you whether or not the group of the opponent is able to activate. If the group rolls a number that falls in the preemption range, then your group is bypassed and you have to wait until the opponent resolves the orders for the group that went before your order. Each side has an army commander, extremely powerful piece that activates every time one of your groups activates and can go around and help your units with rallying and reforming. Each wing has a wing commander that also helps your units, although in a more limited way than the army commander does. Also, in order to act effectively, your units need to be in command range. That means they need to be within a certain distance from their wing commander or from other units that are in command. Units that are out of command simply have to try to move as close as possible to their leader or to other units that are in command. They are, in other words, just trying to get back in command. Units include cavalry units, artillery units, and infantry units. And infantry units may be heavy or light infantry. Units have a number of steps printed on their counter, 4 and 1 in this case here, and then units also have a morale rating, which is the number printed in that small box there. Artillery units also have 2 values for range. One is for grazing fire, the lower number is for grazing fire, particularly powerful form of fire. The other one is for regular fire. When a unit activates, the unit can perform one of several actions, but only one. The unit can move up to its full movement allowance, unless that is modified by orders. And units have a facing, they must always be facing a corner, and it costs movement points to change facing. Cavalry units may move and fire using pistol fire, but an important thing is that cavalry units only have 2 pistols loaded with them. So the first time that you fire with a cavalry unit, you place this marker on it. The second time that cavalry unit fires, you flip the marker to the no pistols side. Now that unit cannot perform pistol fire until the unit spends a reform action to reload its gun, for example, from no pistols to 1 pistol fired. Infantry can fire, and infantry units may fire as they move adjacent to their opponent. They do that with a penalty. They can fire as they move, as they disengage from an opponent, again with a penalty, or if they are already adjacent to an opponent, they can fire against the opponent without penalty. and pretty much they have to be adjacent to the opponent, because for non-artillery units the range of fire is 1. In other terms, you can only fire against adjacent enemies. Heavy infantry can perform salvo fire, which is a particularly powerful form of fire. Artillery units, of course, can fire using grazing or regular fire. And units can spend their activation to rally or to reform if their orders and their situation allows it. And those are orders that you will want your units to follow from time to time, or maybe fairly often, because there's a lot of bad stuff that may happen to your units in combat or simply after movement. Of course, units may take hits, the casualties that will reduce their strength, and then you place numerical markers on the unit to indicate the amount of casualties that the unit is receiving. Units may take formation hits that may happen after combat events or simply after movement. When a unit takes a formation hit, it is flipped to its formation shattered side. If it and the movement allowance for that unit is reduced. If it takes another formation hit, it receives a formation broken marker. Now the movement allowance for that unit is 0 until the unit goes back to at least being in formation shattered. A unit may also take morale hits, in which case after the first morale hit you place a formation shaken marker on the unit, and that reduces the current morale of the unit. A second morale hit will break the morale of the unit goes to morale broken. Now it has a morale of 1, and on top of that it will have to perform route movement at the end of the turn. I like the system very, very much, and there are even more things I could tell you about. I just do not want this video to be too long. There's at least one major concept that I have to cover, that is reaction. When your units are not active, they can still react to what the active units are doing. For example, cavalry units may try to intercept enemy units that are moving. Your units may try to fire. Depending on the circumstances, different types of reactions are possible. When you add that to the preemption and continuation system, then you really have a highly interactive game, a highly interactive experience, with wings that try to activate, get bypassed, but they can still react to what the now active unit of the opponent is doing. Then the game goes back to you, and then maybe you can try to get multiple activations. A lot goes on, and yet everything feels very organic, very, very tight. All of these micro events that happen all the time really feel like parts of a larger event that really has its own cohesiveness. I like the order system. I think that is just great. It adds a lot of flavor. I like the challenges that you have from the restrictions that the orders give you. And even more than that, I like the fact that you cannot change orders at will. It feels very thematic, of course, and it has really fascinating effects on gameplay. It results in interesting, exciting situations. When you see that your units under charge order are ready to charge again, even when it is a really bad idea, when they will probably disintegrate after the charge, and you're trying to stop them from doing that, you will see how exciting that moment is, and you will see how disastrous it could be indeed, not being able to recall a charge when the charge should not take place, not being able to rally when your units desperately need to do so. You can also take a gamble. That is, well, you have to make a decision to go, for example, from a certain order to another order, which may not be the one that you really need to use now, but it is an easy order to go through, and that order will allow you to most likely go to the order that you need to have, or if you want to directly go from an order to the other, even though the chances of being able to successfully jump from one order to the other are low. You have to choose between a lower risk series of orders that will take longer to execute, or just a quick high risk attempt to go from one order to the other. those are very important decisions. Those are fun decisions. There is a certain degree of procedures, and the pace of the battle is not even. Some turns may be very long because there's a lot of combat that needs to be resolved, and then the two sides are just licking their wounds, reforming their formations, trying to rally, and then you may have another series of powerful, tough, strong confrontations. You have lull turns and then high activities, and again, it all makes sense. In any case, this is about the system. As for this package in particular, this is a very good package. 7 battles, that's a lot of different, those are a lot of different experiences that you can have, and these battles do play in very different ways from one another. Very small engagements, which are great if you're learning the system like I was, to larger engagements. There is a special scenario which portrays a siege. It has a lot of special rules to resolve that particular situation, and it has a completely different flavor from the other scenarios. The topic may not be one that has many fans of. There are certainly many topics that are more popular. Battle of the Bulge and Eastern Front in World War II, just as an example. Even for people that like early modern warfare, this may not be the most famous, the most popular war, but who knows, maybe this is going to be a good opportunity for you to learn about the Scanian War. It certainly was for me. I did learn a lot from playing the game. In any case, whether you're going to learn about the war or not, whether you're interested in that, this is a game that it is likely that you will get to enjoy. If you get past the procedures, this is a game that can give you a lot, and clearly it is a good example of a system that personally now I am extremely excited about. Just one more reason for me to be excited about Saints in Armor, which is the recently released new game in this system. It was just released a couple of days ago. I believe there is a copy already on its way to me, so I'm excited about that. And as soon as I get to play Saints in Armor, of course, I will report my impressions to you in a video.